All right, good evening. It is March the 8th, 2025, and it is a classic, still early March Saturday here in Richmond, Virginia. Classic weather that you would expect this time of year where you don't really know which way it's going to go. It was like cloudy, really chilly earlier, and now it's warmed up a little, mostly sunny. Real feels like 54, 55. It's going to be as high as it's going to get today. So just classic what you see this time of year. And current water temperature at the beach area, 45.5 degrees. We're 12.5 degrees away from our target temperature for March the 27th. Now inside of 20 days from the target first beach area trip of 2025. Still got to make up a lot of ground, but it's going to be interesting to see. It's a couple days next week in the 70s, how that will influence and affect the water temperature. How much will it go up? Can we get to 50 next week? Probably not, but it's Wednesday. I'm seeing high of real feel of 78. Now some of you are thinking, oh, big deal. It's 70 here all the time, but that's a big deal for Virginia, getting to 78 real feel even before the middle part of March. So I say screw the 27th. Let's go on the 12th. Why not? All right. Last night's feature presentation. This one picked by Bolts 224. Wow. Can't script that one. High School Big Shot, 1959. A classic, at least once a year watch. But I never really put it in a must-watch for season. It's just sort of whenever. It could be a couple times a year. This one clocks in at 70 minutes long. This is one of the best Mystery Science Theater 3000 episodes there is. I've never seen the film in its entirety without the MST3K commentary, but I imagine it'll still be a pretty good watch. It is available to watch online, but the MST3K version comes with the short before, Out of This World, 1954, which is just as funny as High School Big Shot. It's about the bread salesman. It's really a lot of good stuff in there. So High School Big Shot, starring Tom Pittman as Marv. Tom Pittman, interesting life. This is a posthumous film that came out. I think he died in 58. This came out in 59. Had kind of his death had some interesting circumstances, almost like James Dean, but even more mysterious. A car wreck, finding the body in the car like days later. Really odd. I think he was 26 years old, so he's like 25 or 26 or 25. I forget. Well, either way, he's in his mid-20s in this movie, playing a high school student. Virginia Aldridge as Betty. Caught her in an Ozzie and Harriet episode too, as a kind of a devilish type of character, but didn't have a big role in it. But in the library, look up that episode again. Virginia Aldridge. You have Howard Veidt as Vince Rumbo, or the Cabbage Patch Robert Reed, as they call him in the commentary. His only movie role. Malcolm Atterbury plays the father of Marv. Also, he's probably best called Pop in this video. The drunk, can't hold a job, can't hold a girlfriend, widowed dad, depressing dad. Malcolm Atterbury, also in The Birds, 1963, also in I Was a Teenage Werewolf, 1957. So look for him in those movies and a lot of other movies. The two gangster guys are played by Stanley Adams and Lewis Quinn. The teacher, Mr. Carter, the stuck-up English teacher, is played by Peter Leeds. He's seen in some other things. I really like Jimmy Murphy as the Bert, and this one of the little side men of our boy Vince. Jimmy Murphy is good. Byron Folger is the Mr. Matthews, who is like the manager at the dock. Okay, who's like initiates the heist of the $1 million for the heroin or whatever it is. So you have, yeah, so you got Byron Folger. Bill Koontz is in this. Bill Koontz is a recognizable name, but not a recognizable face. He's in a ton of movies. Never recognized him in this. I don't know who he is, and IMDb doesn't know who he is either, because it's blank where the character role is. So Bill Koontz is in this, and then you have Ellen Atterbury, who is the real life wife of Malcolm Atterbury, depressing dad. She plays Mrs. Fisher, the landlord, who finds Pop hanging. All right. And then this is directed by Joel Rapp. All right, High School Big Shot, 1959. Last night's feature presentation. Good pick by Bolts 224. This is the final day of the year of movie watching. Kind of an emotional day. I've never talked about this before. I've never broken down the year of movie watching, but today marks the final day of the year in movie watching. Typically, it's that Saturday of the time change, and it is today. Okay, so it brings back a lot of memories. Think back to the year of movie watching, and you guys were a big part of it too. Starting back on March the 30th of last year, we kicked things off with Terror at Red Wolf Inn, 1972, an excellent way to kick off the year. This is when the spring break starts, and it's about spring break. Black comedy, horror film. And then really leading it off, though, with April Fool's Day, 1986. We had a great spring season. I just think, off the top of my head, All the Kind Strangers, 1975. The Alpha Incident, 1978. I had a full review of the Idaho Transfer, 1974, at Rio. I did a big review on that. Not a very good review. I never go back and look at my reviews because they're not done very well. But I did a full review of that, and we did, one of the most significant moments of the year of movie watching, 2024-25, came in the spring season of movie watching, and that was the viewing in the theater of First Omen 2024, which came out, I think, April 8th or 9th or something like that. And I think I saw it on opening day or the day after. The first theater viewing for a feature presentation in 6 years. You just rarely have that, but also and the only one of 2024 that was in the theater, but also very significant simply because this film goes into the Omen canon, and the Omen canon is part of the season we're in now, that we're ending today, part of a whole season of movie viewing, title of a whole season of movie viewing, Omen season. So very significant moment having First Omen 2024 come out and get pretty positive reviews, even from the skeptics and the fans of the Omen. We ushered in the summer of movie watching with the teen sex beach comedy Hot Moves, 1984, like we always do. The Girl in Lover's Lane, 1960, Brad Halsey. Always a must watch, but this one's significant because this one was the night before a beach visit that ended up being an infamous beach visit with a very bad accident. I think it was June the 20th, so it was right at the beginning of summer. June the 20th, and I remember talking about it that morning at the beach area. The Girl in Lover's Lane, 1960. But I don't care, I'm watching this movie again this coming June. We had a couple of great Shatner films. Airplane 2, 1982. Nick of Time, 1960. I'm not going to go through all these, but just some of the highlights. July season of movie watching. Return of the Living Dead, 1985. Really enjoyed that one. Don't forget, this year's the 40th anniversary of Return of the Living Dead. And I think there's a limited screen thing coming out this year of some kind of sequel to it with maybe some cameos. I heard about that. We'll have to talk about that some more. Dewey loves this movie too. We had Frisbee Boy Hits Pay Dirt, 2022. I got to add this one to the must watches for July or August. So watch that one. And then kind of the midsummer classic for me is Summer City, 1977. So Summer City was a favorite. John Jarratt, Mel Gibson, Australian film. All right, I think was the All-Star Game a feature presentation? I think it was, because we usually have an All-Star Game party featuring hot dogs, so I think that was a feature. August season, you know, Duel, 1975, love that film. 4D Man, 1959. Blood Beach, 1980, can't forget that one. I think it was before a beach trip, as we usually try to set that one up like that. September season of movie watching. Now, this is always the lowest one. I rank this one the least of my favorite, even though it's good. It's just very slow, not a whole lot of must-watches, not a whole lot of greats. It's got The Pretender, 1987, we watched that. And then, despite it being a slow month, it had a Friday the 13th. So that's very significant for September, the season of the ending of summer, beginning of fall. This one goes through the first week, at least, of October. And so we did have a Friday the 13th in September. This one turned out to be Friday the 13th, the final chapter, 1984. Arguably the best one of the series, but also fitting to watch this one because we lost the great Eric Anderson, who played Rob Deere in this film earlier in the season, in the year. So we had that going on for the ending of summer, beginning of fall season of movie watching. You know, always a slow time, and then we went right into Horror Fest. It was a little warm at the beginning, but kicked things off with a new one, Lost Things 2003. I really like how I bookended Horror Fest this year with some really good ones. Lost Things 2003, and then concluding on Halloween night with Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, 1983, right? Yeah. Really nice to bring that one back. Halloween 3, 1983 or 1982. We also had a lot of great ones on there. Bringing back Microwave Massacre, and then having a first time Blood Tide, 1982, as a tribute to, in memory of James Earl Jones, who we lost in the summer. So, and then a lot of just great horror films, everyone participating in that, a lot of people participating in that. We had a little break in there. Now, the little break after Horror Fest and before Thanksgiving Fest, of about 3 weeks or so, really enjoyed that this time. Some Latter-day Saints films, and I talked about these on video, like The Mailbox, 70s film, The Phone Call, 1977, a great film, Mark McClure, and some other LDS, and then sprinkle in some Christian films in there, and then did the whole Back to the Future trilogy, since a lot of that takes place in November. So good to get back to the all three of the Back to the Future films, and I've talked a lot about those. We had our second successful Thanksgiving Fest 2024. This time it was, I think, 5 days, quality viewing, going places, TV show episode of the Thanksgiving episode. It was a nice little moderate success. Surprise. Kicked things off. Branched it to Christmas Fest with Black Christmas 1974, which has to do with Thanksgiving and Christmas Fest. We went into Christmas Fest. Everyone's in a jovial mood and really enjoying their Christmas movies at this time of year. It was an excellent Christmas Fest. Leading off with A Christmas Dream, 1945, some Scandinavian short film about a girl who's got a dream about her doll. This is a great find, seeing this one, so I had to point that one out. And another big moment was a live play. I was going to see a live play, like December 10th or somewhere around there. So I've done that before, but this was a new one. And then seeing, of course, Santa Claus on the night of the annual Wire Club Christmas John D. birthday party, and watching of course, It's a Wonderful Life on Christmas Eve, followed by the bonus feature of John's church, the Christmas service, becoming a Christmas tradition. And then this Christmas Fest will go down to the final Christmas Fest that extended all the way through New Year's Eve. We're cutting that off this year. We're ending it at Christmas Day. So this one ended in Christmas Eve with the 1992 underrated romantic comedy with Andrew McCarthy and Helen Hunt called Only You, a great film about Christmas and New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. Also Kelly Preston in that. So we will change that up next year. All right, the year continued with the January season of movie watching. All the classics: The Intruder Within, Frogs, Rock, It's Your Decision, 1982, and a lot of other great movies. But this one was a little different from the last couple of years because we had a lot of snow in Virginia, and so this meant bringing out some of the films that are sometimes in Omen season, watching them in the January season of movie watching. For example, North of the Sun, 1974, and Snow Beast, 1977. Those came out pretty early this year. Great watching. When Worlds Collide was another great movie. 1954, another great sci-fi film. We had a bunch of others. January season of movie watching was a lot of fun, and it was helped a lot by snow. And finally, we went into the Omen season. And Omen season was really fun. I really paid attention to the detail this year in the Omen films. This was the first year that we opened up. We kind of opened things up and said, now we have First Omen from 2024 is now is now one of your options for the Omen season. So it's really exciting to have that one in there for the first time, part of the canon, the sequel. So it is a 5-film series now. The First Omen, 2024, The Omen, 1976, Damien, Omen 2, 1978, Omen 3, The Final Conflict, 1983. Really enjoyed that one last week. And finally, Omen 4, The Awakening, 1991. We also had we had one new one. There was a snow movie during Omen season. We had Winter Kill, 1975, which was really good. And then Ghost Keeper, 1982, which has been watched several times before, and it's now almost a must-watch for January or Omen season. And I can't leave out Super Bowl 59 between the Eagles and the Chiefs, a feature presentation. All right, that was back in February the 9th, I believe. All right. So it's been an excellent year of movie watching. I want to say thanks to everybody because you played a big part in this. For those who asked, what were the features? What was tonight's feature? What was last night's feature? Even if it's just because you need to have it posted for the points, right? For the trivia points. Always a classic in trivia, answering the question. And also want to say thanks for not complaining about that. I think in the early days, people used to complain about that. Duck still complains about it, but that's just Duck being Duck. All right, so I appreciate everyone following and paying attention to the features and knowing the actors and even guessing Smith from time to time. Sometimes it pays off. Thanks for those of you who chose features. When I did it for One for All the Marbles picks, we did that a lot, and you guys had your hit rates on that was very good this year. Granted, I'm not going to put many bad picks in there, but usually you seem to have a really good intuition about what movie to watch that night. Sometimes they didn't turn out right, but I couldn't have done any better than how you picked it. And I think the one that I would also go to people directly and just say, what should I watch? And the one that I went to most on that was XXX Duck Meat XXX. That's because he's got a high batting average on picking. Let's try, and he usually picks a really good one. So Duck Meat is a guy that I really trust, kind of like how I trust Shawkinator with the DJ picks for music. So thank you, Duck Meat. A special shout out to you, and thank you. Hope you can do it again this next coming year of movie watching. I also went to Shawk some in the direct choices, like directly asking. All right, so thanks Shawk, and some of the others. I went to a few others for that. So you guys typically did a pretty good job. All right, during a horror fest, I would do. I think I still from time to time will give you plot choices instead of giving you the movie. So, and you guys usually knock the ball out of the park with that. So really good batting averages. All right, thanks for all who celebrated all the seasons. I know you don't celebrate all of them, but for talking about and promoting Horror Fest, for talking about and promoting Christmas Fest, for making Andy 8010, for making tweaks to Thanksgiving Fest this year, for your promotion of Christmas Fest, for your tweak you helped make for next Christmas Fest and next year's Horror Fest. Excellent job of research and feeling it out and just understanding the pulse of the movie seasons. Thanks, Andy 8010. And then for those who said I need to check out that movie when I would talk about a great movie. So it's rare. Like Yukon would do that. Abule would do that from time to time and say, yeah, I'm going to check that out, and then get back to me with feedback. Really appreciative. That's community building, and it also gives some love to those crappy films. So thanks. All right, and of course thanks to those who added info about like actresses and actors, like what they were in before. Basically, mainly Shawk did this. He would say, oh, she was in Star Trek, and just little tidbits like that. So thank you, Shawk, on that. And then just for all the fun memories about like me talking about the memories of saying last night's featured presentation as I'm going into the Bear Scott Stadium, or going down the path entering Rio, or the beach opener premiere, talking about last night's feature presentation. Hope you're not too bored on those things, but always good to talk about how we're doing on movies. So it's been an excellent year. I want to say thanks to everybody for your participation in many ways in the year of movie watching. I've really enjoyed it, but it's not over. We're down to one final evening, and that is tonight, March the 8th, 2025, final night. And by the time you see this, that film, there's still time to watch films, but I'll probably be done with watching feature presentations. So tonight, we close out the 2024-25 year of movie watching, which has been so enjoyable. And we close it out the year, and we close out Omen season with Omen 4, The Awakening, 1991. This one starring Faye Grant, or as Dewey calls her, Sexy Faya. I told him I was watching this weekend. Hopefully Dewey's watching it too. Michael Woods, Asia Vieira as Delia, Michael Lerner, Madison Mason, Ann Hearn, Don S. Davis. We have a chatter named D. Davis. I always call him Don S. Davis. Duncan Fraser, Martin Cummins of a Friday the 13th film, Jason Takes Manhattan. Hey, that was another thing we did. December had the Christmas Fest came to a halt on December the 13th. We had a Friday the 13th in December. We said, to hell with Christmas Fest on this day. We will honor Mr. Voorhees, and honor him we did. And for me, it was Friday the 13th, Part 8. Jason Takes Manhattan, 1989. A crappy classic. And I know some of you others watched Friday the 13th that evening. So 2 Friday the 13ths in this year of movie watching. Both excellent films. And so Martin Cummins is in Omen 4 and Jason Takes Manhattan. He has a small role in this. Look for him as Drifter, with I think one little line in there. And then Ryder as Dog. So Ryder is in this. I'll talk a little bit more about this tomorrow, not at length, not a review, but I will talk about it in my Sunday message. Tonight's feature presentation, an emotional one, Omen 4, The Awakening, 1991, a direct-to-video, I think, TV movie that did have some limited screen showings, I believe, in like New Zealand or something. So this one, not available online for free. You have to pay like $3.99 to rent it on YouTube and then probably other places. But if you really want to watch this tonight, I would suggest, for free, I would suggest contacting Darth Raider. He's your man on the underbellies of the internet with movies. He'll get you your free films without buffering, and free, and FOC, free of charge. Thankfully, I have it on VHS, so thank God that I purchased it at the video store years ago. Great decision. Alright, so that closes out the year, but no champagne tonight, no fireworks tonight. Remember, we're not starting the new year tomorrow. We're starting the new year, I believe, March 29th, Friday. So we have a little 3-week period of just kind of an off-season training, relaxing, break. I broke that down on the whiteboard in a video a couple nights ago on a premiere. Check that out on the Frank Addington channel if you want to know more about that. But I'll be talking about it over the next 3 weeks and talking about kind of the laid-back films. So at the end of Omen 4, as the dad, played by Michael Woods, is walking away at the funeral for his wife, at the gravesite with Delia, Damien's daughter. This concludes the season of movie watching. Always an emotional moment. I start reflecting back on not just the beginning of The Omen with Gregory Peck and Lee Remick, and watching that in the very cold early February, but started reflecting on the great year of movie watching, some of the great things that happened, some of the not great things that happened, and the people who contributed all of the suggestions and picks, and then asking things about the films, and then maybe, in some rare cases, synchronizing and watching the exact same film on the same night. That is always awesome. So, happy end of the year of movie watching. It is bittersweet, it is emotional, and winter is coming to an end. And I will show you before I head out. And as you can see, mostly sunny day. Almost all bare trees, just a teeny bit of buds. However, as we end winter and the season of movie watching, we do see some signs of spring coming. Some things starting to come out early. Look at that. Look at that. What do you think? And look what else we have. Some of these little cherry blossom like trees. Pink coming out. Look at that. Thank you for watching this premiere video on the Frank Addington channel. And let me just close by saying, God bless the gift of movies, especially B movies with horrible scripts and unknown actors. Peters is out.